you're not alone. And you're on the stage now with 5 other candidates. We're missing one more who's in Texas. 4 other candidates. Sorry. I'll introduce you in a second, Dave. And how does it feel to have other candidates come and join you shoulder to shoulder in this fight? And so you're still on the front line, but you're not alone on the front line. How does that feel?
Interesting. I was talking to patriots all over the country on the way down here and for an interview with the Tea Party Patriots. And this is going on all over this country. Yeah, and they're talking to me about what happened in DeKalb County, Georgia. About many of you have probably heard about it when they hand counted the ballots. It was actually the loser was the winner, and so that's what we're looking for with the help of these fine attorneys to go ahead and prove once and for all these machines are fraudulent, and this recount is actually going to do that. So pray for our judges. Make sure that they are, God put them in that place, and they will be accountable to that. They will be accountable to that position that they've been put into. And I would hate for them to defy the living God, right? Mm-hmm. This is still a country, in God we trust. This is still a country based on godly principles. And so, we have to keep the faith. But there were other candidates, and it's good to see. And I told them, they said, what can we do? And I said, contact your sheriff, ask for a recount, do what we're doing here. And I think, that you guys are a model for the whole country. And I'm very proud of you guys, too. Yeah.
I want to speak a little bit to the relationship that you guys have now through the legal aspect. For 2 days, you were part of the same lawsuit. That was until we decided to do one for you yourself. And so it was all 6+1 candidates that were on that lawsuit. And we amended it and then gave you your own lawsuit that went against not just Chuck and Jenna, but Jenna plus the 63 other counties in Colorado were all sued and served. They were served.
You guys did a great work on that. I mean, really the credit goes to all the people that hit the ground, right? And got it done in all 64 counties.
What Christine and Dee were doing.
One that does it. But yeah, I mean, it is a grassroots effort. And yeah, we are taking the bullets and hopefully just figuratively. God's given me a great sense of humor through all this, and I think that's just the way that I deal with things. But yeah, I really appreciate Jim. I appreciate you and Gary, and you guys have met David now, and all the people, all the patriots out there. You guys are doing this. We're going to do this together, right?
Yeah.
I owe you a formal introduction of David, but it requires a little bit of a backstory. All weekend long, we were searching for the perfect attorney to substitute for the attorney who helped us start this all, Nick Armour. I'm so grateful for his help in filing those initial lawsuits. It wouldn't be possible, but due to circumstances in his life, he had to take another path, and he still, his heart is with us, and he's gunning for us every step of the way, but we needed a new attorney to take the lead. And up to the last minute, we were searching and searching and searching, talking to everybody at this event, networking with everybody we could. We talked to Jenna Ellis, we talked to Kurt Olson, we talked to all the big attorneys at the event. And we're like, who do you know who has a Colorado bar card? And it turned out that we found David. And we were on a Jitsi call talking to another attorney, and he's like, oh, well, I don't think I can do it. And it's 9:30 at night at the end of the summit. That's our last chance. And David joins the Jitsi. And so from that point, David became our lead attorney, and without hesitation said, this is what I'm made for. And if we have another working mic, do you mind introducing yourself and giving a little backstory and why God made you for this task?
Okay. Hey, my name is Dave Wilson.
You're on.
Okay. Do anybody remember the conference that was here about 13, 14 months ago? And it was supposed to be 200, like 2,000. I spoke at that one. That's when I was just getting started saying, hey, I just want to help out, blah, 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 all that. And then when I heard about everything going on, I kept praying, God, if you want me to help, because I grew up in New York. My wife and I, we spent 20 years in the Army. We landed back here. She said, I'm not leaving, you're retiring, go find a job. So I did cybersecurity for 6 years until a friend said, hey, you want to get back in the courtroom? So I love the courtroom. And they opened the contracts. I didn't realize I was going to be doing dependency and neglect, representing parents having their kids taken away by DHS, mostly for neglect and addiction, things like that. But after 5 years, I kept saying, God, I need a new season. This is draining me. It's emotionally draining. I hate seeing these parents lose their kids, and on and on. And I kept praying about how can I help with Tina and others, and God said, not yet, not yet, not yet. And then Sunday night, I was sitting there looking at my email. Has anybody here, has anybody heard of Todd Callender?
Yep.
Okay. So a year and a half ago, I went to an AFLDS conference with my wife, and I met Todd, and I met Dawn, and we created Disabled Rights Advocates. So the three of us have been doing this mostly pro bono because we want to fight all this for a year and a half now. And Todd lives in the Bahamas, but he was flying around taking his daughter to college, and he got an email through somebody in our network, and he said, hey Dave, can you pick this up? There's a meeting tonight, something about elections. I can't be on there. I said, sure, I'll get involved, I'll see what it's about. And that's when I jumped on, and I'm thinking, you mean I've got to be in court tomorrow and I know nothing about this? Now, if it was dependency neglect, I could have picked it up and said, okay, I'm running with it. Or a criminal thing, I could have picked it up and run with it. But election law, I'm like, okay. But the good thing is, in the Army, you move every 2 years. So every 2 years, you're in a new area of the law. So you learn very quickly. I better get up to speed very quickly because I'm only here 2 years and I have to be the expert and then move on. So.
Well, your other background with JAG and with cyber.
Oh, so while in the Army, I started looking, about 10 years out, I started looking at the writing on the wall. If you follow the typical, how many veterans? Probably most of them.
Amen.
You all know if you follow the typical track to get promoted, you get out. And if you have some sort of specialty, that's what you go into. Well, as a JAG, that specialty, when you get promoted up the line, you become a supervisor. You don't practice law anymore. You're supervising all the other attorneys. And I talked to a bunch of people who had retired or gotten out. They were doing divorce. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Or criminal law. I'm like, in the Army, I can be a defense attorney because you're either innocent and I get you acquitted, or you're convicted, bye-bye, I'll never see you again. But here in town, it's, okay, you're back again? What did you do this time? So it gets old. So I said, technology, wave of the future. I worked at Army Space, and then the Army sent me, I got a master's in intellectual property and information technology, and then on to NSA. And I worked for General Hayden, and then I worked for General Alexander, and helped stand up Cybercom. And then I came back here, back to Army Space, and helped stand up Army Cyber. I have to tell you, at the time, I was in his office a lot, and I thought General Hayden was a great guy. Obviously, my opinion has changed a little bit, but at the time, and the one thing that struck me when I was there is I heard the civilians say, hey, you know what, you military, you come in, you want to change things, you want to do things this way and that way, we just wait till you leave because we're really in charge, we're here forever, you'll be gone. I'm like, what are they talking about? I thought we're all on the same team, we're all doing this together. So, had my eyes open. So I do have a background in cybersecurity and the legal aspects. Anyway.